G'day everyone, welcome Nutters to our new edition of Slightly Sideways. Alongside me, he doesn't need an introduction to most people, but I will introduce him. He's one of the Sudan's greatest in Western Australia and Australian history, and that's Barry Blake, and welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks, Josh. Great to be here, mate.
Baz, just want to sort of start off maybe as your kid, and just how were you as a child growing up?
The biggest worry in the world of my mother. She, I wasn't a rat bag, but I was into everything.
Yep.
If it moved or it was sport, that was it. I was in it, no matter what the risk. In fact, my sister always used to say that, my mother used to say, I wonder what hospital's going to ring today to tell us we've got him here. And that's a true story.
Now, growing up, family-wise, you had your brother Alan and stuff,
Yeah.
and what was that like? You know, competitive straight away?
Yeah, there were seven kids in our family, and Alan was the oldest, and then a sister, myself, brother, sister, or sister, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, a lot of his life as a young guy, he didn't live with us because he lived on my grandparents' farm, which was just out of Bunbury.
Yep.
And he lived in Bunbury he has most of his life. So, but he lived with us quite a while, and while he was working in Bunbury for a while before we moved to Perth, he lived with us for quite a while there. So, yeah.
You, before we get to the speedway stuff and all that, you played football for quite a number of years.
I did, mate.
You're quite competitive?
Yeah, mate, I was pretty lucky because my father was a brilliant sportsman.
Okay.
And I seemed to inherit that. And it didn't matter what sport or activity I did. I was actually quite good at every sport I played on. Everything I took up. Academically, mate, not a non-event, but street-wise.
Yep.
But no, I left school because I was never going to be a scholar. So, but I love my sport. I love my footy especially, mate. It was quite often the footy season, you know, age into the speedway and vice versa. But in all honesty, as a younger person, I probably would have chosen footy ahead of speedway. But
is that right?
Yeah, I would have, mate. Yeah.
Yep.
I played a couple of hundred games of Sunday League, and then I played a couple of seasons of A-grade amateurs, and got selected a few combined sides. Spent one full pre-season at Swans and played in the pre-season games.
Mm-hmm.
I got the honour of playing in a team we played against Polly Farmer.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, Polly was captain coach of West Perth at the time, and I played on the wing actually for Swans, and Polly was captain coach. So I was actually right in the centre because there was no centre square then. It was just, he was one of my idols because I was an East Perth guy. Yeah, so it was good. But no, I love my footy, mate. Played right through till I was 45 actually.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you're only 46 now, aren't you?
Well, just.
Next
week.
To be honest, Baz is 72, and I think he's looking pretty damn good for 72, so you carry yourself well, mate.
Yeah, man, I'm not a gym junkie, but I think for the last 30 years I've been a regular at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I never drank or smoked.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's been a big help. So, but plus Sydney cooks good meals, mate.
Oh,
I've got to give credit to the
best
chef.
burgers in Australia.
Or I'll get into trouble. No, it's pretty healthy lifestyle. And, and plus I've participated in sport for something active all my life.
Yeah.
And I think that all helps, mate. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But my dad looked very young, and my mum too, but Dad especially, even before he unfortunately died when I was 20.
Mm.
But he was still a young looking man, I remember, at that age.
So you've got good genes.
Yeah, very athletic. He was a brilliant sportsman. He was in the state cricket squad at 18 years of age.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he played a lot of footy as a young man. So unfortunately the war started and away he went, and that took its toll on him. And I don't think he ever really got over it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's a tough deal there.
Yeah, it is, mate. And I didn't realise at the time when we were younger that was an issue, but I certainly realise now later on in life.
You get to appreciate
a chance to have a look at what went on.
Yeah.
I've actually got his war records, mate. He was somewhat of a fighter too.
So Biffo, we'll probably get into Barry's bit of Biffo later on too. So there you go, a bit of boxing history there.
If you read his history and his record, I think there's about 7 assault charges on military police. True story.
Is that right?
On military police.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he didn't mind a bit of a blue.
And a short fuse sometimes. Mate, how did you get into the speedway deal and buy your first race car and go racing?
Much to my horror, my mother's horror, I should say.
Everyone's mum has a horror story.
Where I worked and did my apprenticeship, Chatswood Hall of Co in Rivervale, we were just around the corner from a guy by the name of Stan Kinlock, who in speed car circles Stan was heavily involved in the club,
Yep.
and he had a regular throng of speed car drivers around at his workshop. I used to go around at lunchtime because it was only 150 metres from where I'd be mine, and I'd sit there. Ken Hopkins, Billy Jost, Laurie Matthews,
Wow.
Johnny Stewart,
Wow.
and Johnny
Lots
Stewart's
of
car
cool
was there.
names there.
Yeah, and I used to sit there and listen to the guys talk and watch Stan repair the cars. And of course, at where I worked, we ended up painting 2 or 3 of the cars as well.
Yeah. And did you go to Claremont Watch at that time? You know who these guys like really were?
It was all around the time because I developed an interest, and what we used to do, where I did my apprenticeship, my mates, Kevin Riley, Murray Rose, a couple others, would all meet at the workshop,
Yep.
go to the Rivervale station, catch the train through to Claremont, go to Speedway.
That's cool.
That was before we got our licences, obviously. But that's how it all started. And then I had a little panel beating business in Belmont. I started that at 20 years of age after I finished my apprenticeship. And Alan joined us for a while, and Alan was doing a bit of the spray painting. And anyway, I said, "Oh, let's go and buy a super modified," which we did.
Yep.
And we took that and had a few runs of that and shared that. Then we got a sedan. I think Alan started with an FJ and I started with an FJ. Then Alan moved on to an EFC. I got an AP5 Valiant. Alan moved on just for a brief time. He built a XY type or XW type Falcon
Yep.
V8. I think it was an old 272 or something like that. And I think he put an automatic behind it.
All right.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I bought a Valiant 2-door, which I built into a nice car, and
Yep.
that had a 318 in it. So we ran those for a while,
Yep.
and the super modified lasted one meeting at Claremont because I got barreled into the wall and that stuffed that up.
Yeah, and we'll hopefully show you some pictures of
no.
these. Barry's got a collection, and we're going to show some of that.
Yeah.
So, the first super modified you ran, the first night at Claremont, you crashed out.
Yeah, actually, unfortunately, the late Laurie Burns just died recently. He clipped the front wheel and I went into the wall and it bent the chassis. We had no way of straightening it at that stage, so I pulled the motor out and I can't remember who I sold it to, but I sold the chassis and everything to someone. And Alan and I just decided we'd do sedans.
Yep.
So that's how it all started. I had to convince my mum that was a problem. She hated it, like
Is that right?
Oh yeah, she hated it.
Do you think it was just too dangerous or too expensive, or just like she wasn't aware of it, so she didn't want to know about it?
She thought it was too dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, we're her kids, and I understand that, having had kids. And
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah. So in fact, I can quickly a little story.
Yeah, floor's yours. Take us where you want.
Alan and I went out to Wattle Grove, and I took the FJ, a super mod. I think Alan took his car out, and Mum come to that meeting, and I managed to go over the bank in the super modified. As you come round and bang over the bank, I rolled the Holden on its side, and I remember I come back into the pits after I think I'd gone over the bank. That was the second one. The Holden went first, and I said to her, "Where's Mum gone?" And they said, "She's up in the car." And I went up to the car, and she's sitting there crying her eyes.
Oh no,
That was the last time she went to Speedway.
is that right?
That would have been 1969, 70. And the next time she came to Speedway was the 1991 season. She came to Bunbury Speedway.
Wow.
And Brad was racing.
Yeah.
And I was racing the Bert Rosberg car.
Bert.
But we had a great night. I had a win in a heat, qualified pole, and then a win in the feature by about half a foot.
And you were the good son after then? Again?
She didn't say much, but she was pleased that I had a win. So it was nice to have a good night, and Brad had a good night the same. So she saw a grandson and a son both have a good night on it. So
That's
it
awesome.
was a good result, yeah.
Did you just race a lot in the early days, like week in, week out, wherever you could, because you obviously had like places like Wattle Grove, Forestfield and such, or did you sort of like didn't have the budget, you just sort of raced where you could, you and Alan and stuff?
Yeah, we did. I mean, it was a case of I was getting married on February the 7th, 1970.
Tis a lovely.
This was just around the time we bought the cars.
Yep.
So I had to sort of try and balance it out. Alan built the car, but Alan moved back to Bunbury, I think about March, April,
Okay.
1970, and he took the car with him. But he used to come up to Claremont and race most. He did almost a full season in the EFE, yeah. Number 38.
Right.
And I raced the Valiant for a few meetings, and then the next season I turned it into an AP6. I've changed the rule, put a 273 in it, and raced that. Had a win, and I think I won a B grade and run a couple of places.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was out. Didn't run again the next season at all, I don't think. Well, no, I built the 2-door, sorry, and I ran that a couple of times. But mate, it was like a rocket in a straight line, but the mongrel wouldn't turn the corners.
Yeah.
Then that stupid torsion bus. Those days too, mate, if it had 4 shockeys, 4 springs, 4 wheels, that was it. You were set up. We had no idea on spring rates or shock rates or ride heights. Or, I mean, I look back now and I ended up going to Motormart, who were in Newcastle Street at the time, and I think Don O'Sullivan, who'd raced road racing, he had these big wide road racing tyres. I thought, oh, that'll be good. So I bought them and I put them on the back. And I had little skinny road tyres on the front. Then I wondered why I wouldn't turn the corner.
Just pushing.
No idea whether they'd stagger or not. But anyway, it was all good fun. It was a learning curve. And then I stood out for half a season or a season. And then Ronnie Glazebrook actually had a Tirana sitting at a place in Fulham Street.
Southside Rebel.
Yeah, Ron. He's a great guy, Ronnie, actually. He was terrific guy. And I went around there and he didn't have the money to do it. But I bought it off for $130. It was a complete roller. It had been rolled over, but it was a complete roller.
Yep.
All panels air damaged, but diff was in it. Didn't have a gearbox or motor, but I bought that. We put a roll cage in that. I went down. And actually, that season, that was my first full season, and I think I won 4 features and won quite a few heats of that. And we went to Bunbury. We won the overall points at Bunbury, and won every heat points and won the overall points. So our first season was a ripper.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that was good, yeah. And Alan went into his Tirana before I did.
Yeah.
He built that at Ewan Autos, actually, in Newcastle.
And this is the number 3 Tirana that you had?
I had 3, Alan had his number. So we changed from, I was number 41, Al was 38.
Yep.
And we thought, no, we'll get some different numbers, and Al got 7, I got 3.
Okay. Why 3? Was it just available? Or
That what was available in the low numbers, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you had the 41 actually later on in the late model as well?
Yeah, because 3 had gone, obviously, when that was a mistake, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you're still learning, mate.
Yeah. So you're back in the Tiranas?
Yeah, and we did that season, had a ripper season, and the next year we picked up Gerlock. Actually, Con Migro organised it for me.
Okay.
Con got Gerlock to put. It was only $30 a week, but that was half the average weekly wage. Yeah.
Wow.
I was only getting.
Just imagine it these days. If you went, you could race speedway, and someone pays you guaranteed half your weekly wage in sponsorship.
I was getting $75 a week, and I was running the panel and paint shop for Diesel Motors, the Mercedes dealer, and I was picking up $30 a week for that one season off Gerlock. I think we averaged $40 or $50 a week in prize money at Claremont, $60 sometimes, and we usually picked up $30 or $40 every fortnight at Bunbury. So, we were able to race.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole car complete, when I built it, the Tirana, cost me $800.
Yeah.
That included buying it. We put a 202 in it with just a 2360 cam. I just got a second-hand set of SUs, a second-hand set of extractors, got the engine balanced, and we went racing. That was it. Yeah.
You look back and you think, it's just, they were the glory days where you could build, make your own things, adjust stuff. You weren't buying parts off the shelf in those days. It was just.
And the other thing was too, we could, if you want, like I remember one time the harmonic balance and the rubber came out. I rang. I think it was Kevin James Holden actually Canning at the time. It was $8 for a new harmonic balancer. I went and got a second-hand one for $4.
But I guess prices were sort of relevant, but
but that's what you did, and the difference then too, James, was when you're down the pits at Claremont on Friday night, the cars were so agricultural that if something went wrong, I mean, I can remember on numerous occasions we'd take a pair of pliers and go to the back and get a piece of wire off the fence, and we'd come back and fix it. There was no 100-mile-an-hour.
You just wire it up, drill a hole through the bottom.
Yeah, just drill a hole, fix it the best. That's what we did.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember too, I think at that stage there was 26 meetings a year at Claremont.
Yeah, it was a lot of races.
Probably about 8 or 10 at Bunbury, plus Collie on alternate.
Yeah.
And we did probably 19 or 20 of those meetings at Claremont, because you had some test matches with the solos, and we got to every meeting. Then we'd go to Bunbury on the Saturday. The following week, on the off nights, we'd go to Collie, and we just kept racing. Yeah, that's what we did.
Great lifestyle.
There was no, I can't do this, I'm not going to do it. It was too hard. We just did it because we wanted to do it. That was all there was to it.
You just big borrow steel parts and just go.
Go racing, mate.
Now, talking of race cars, you're probably known for 2 of your most iconic race cars, which was your '65 Mustang and your Corvette.
Yeah.
Now, everyone I talk about when I mention Barry Blake, the first thing that comes out is, the Mustang and the Corvette.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about,
Yeah.
obviously, first the Mustang and then when the Corvette came?
The Mustang was a 6K white car that was owned by Bright Shines for a season or so. Anyway, the guy that was racing, I can't think of his name now, but his girlfriend actually worked in the office at Claremont Speedway where they were at Bright Shines building in East Perth there.
Okay.
Anyway, he was transferred to the east or decided to go east. And I went in, John at Bright Shines said to me one day, do you want to run that car? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, it's got a motor in it, it's a 6-cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. So I got the car, took it home and stripped it, got it built, got it to 89, and we ran it at Collie, Bunbury and Claremont for quite a few meetings.
Yep.
And the next season I bought a quick change diff for it because I'd just been running a standard diff in it. And because the diff track was so wide, I went to John, I said, look, we need an XWXY because that Mustang, the 65-66, the wheelbase and the track is exactly the same as an XP Falcon. In fact, all the steering components, everything the same as an XP.
Okay.
So that's the narrower track. And John said, yeah, go out and find one. I saw there's one out there, the XWXY. So they cut the front off that. So I got that back to the workshop, cut it across the floor, cut it across the pillars, put that on the front.
Yep.
That gave me a nice wide track, equal to the back.
Yep.
So we're away.
And handled a bit better. And
We won some races, I think.
Yeah.
Won a lot of races, actually. Yeah. And that car, we went to Collie Speedway. I managed it for a year in 76, 77. And I didn't take the car down there for the first meeting because I thought if I'm running the show, they don't want me. Anyway, they asked me would I bring the car down so that they could promote it.
Yeah,
be an extra. So I said, and I think they regretted that because I started, I think it was either 6 or 7 meetings, and I won 3 out of 3 every night for the entire season.
Right.
And I think I won 18 or 21 straight.
Sorry, Barry, we're closed, mate. We're not opening up.
And there was some pretty good drivers like Laurie Malone, Pud Collins, I think his name was, and Eddie Cobby, who had his Tirana there, so they were pretty good. And a few Bunbury guys had come across from time to time, so it was pretty good fields. Yeah. But the thing, it was just geared perfectly, accidentally by the way, for Collie.
That's nice.
I think they had a 323 diff in it, and we didn't change anything, we just ran it as it was.
Yeah.
It was only 289.
Wow.
Used to scream its head.
Yeah,
that'd go forever. So that was the Mustang, and then I ran that. I think I ran second in the state title 2 years in a row in it. Then Johnny Singleton bought it. Then I bought the Corvette from Brian Callahan.
Yep, from the States.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bought it back. I went over, had a look at it. It was pretty hard to see because it was tucked in a shed, but that'll do. Anyway, I bought it back.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe it. I didn't tell anyone that I was going to buy it.
Right.
And Johnny Singo had bought the Mustang by then.
Yeah.
So I sneaked down to the rail yard on the Sunday down in Kewdale. Cindy come with me, and we put on a trailer and I was going to get it back to the workshop. You would not believe it. The one bloke I bumped into coming out onto Orrong Road off Pilbara Street, John Singleton. He's coming down the road.
You can't ride that, can you? You'd be like this.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe it. And it's gone by as the other car, and then I bumped into him on the way to deliver the other workshop.
That's classic.
But then I stripped it all down and did it all up and got an engine. It was all steel engine at those days, and double bump heads as they used to call them. I think I ran injection.
Yep.
But right from the start, and quite honestly, we didn't know a lot about what we were doing. Quite frankly. Well, that was an asphalt car, so the springs and the shocks would have been totally wrong for dirt.
Yep.
But it seemed to work all right. I fiddled around with bits and pieces. I think I softened it up a bit. Anyway, we ended up running drag tyres, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah. Alan Green, who did my engines, Green Man, who's just the best engine builder mate I've ever come across.
Okay.
Brilliant. And guy George Weezer, sadly George died a few years back. They used to come around and sort of help around at the workshop, set the car up a bit. And Green Man, I think it was George actually, he said, why don't you run drag slicks, Baz? These things are like jelly.
Right,
I said, but man, they worked all right.
Yeah, groove them up and off they go.
At Bunbury, especially on the clay, that thing was a rocket.
Okay.
Absolute rocket. Yeah.
Did you have problems with overheating them or anything like that?
No. Well, see, on the clay, they didn't get hot.
No.
And the car would just drop into the turns and
and slide in.
away. Claremont on the wrong night, so were no good. But on the right nights, they were good, but at Bunbury especially, they were terrific.
Did
In the
he-
winter Claremont, they were good, because obviously they're soft and they moved a lot. That was
Yeah.
the only thing you had to get used to.
Was that one of those things where people walk past and go, hang on, Blakey, what are you running? Because, yeah, politics sometimes.
We didn't tell anyone, to be honest with you, Jace.
Okay.
When we found out they worked, and they were there another time, Benny Ludlow brought this up to me recently, actually. Ben reminisced on it. He said, remember the night at Claremont? He said, you were going down the straight. He said, the car was lifting up. He said, I could see it all under your car. I said, yeah. Well, what actually happened? George and Alan came around the workshop. Well, of course, the drag cars run this link arm off the centre of the diff,
Right.
up like that. That's why they lift up in the air. And we don't, because we don't want that. Well, of course, they said, try that. We put the thing
You put it in
on. We go down there, of course, the thing lifts up. I had to bend down on this to see under the roof on it. But anyway, I bolted a race in and set a new 6-lap record. And,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Benny said to me, he said, what the hell have you done to that thing? Well, I ended up ripping the tail shaft out, so it's not terrible. But, little things like that. And, you couldn't run that on speedway because of the way it did it.
Yeah.
That car was fantastic for promotion. And I've been trying to find that car, because I sold it to a guy by the name of Doug Cox
Yep.
in Newman.
Right.
And I've tried everywhere to try and see if that car was still sitting around. I'd love to get hold of that.
Okay, so anyone
Yeah.
that watches this, people know people,
Yeah.
keep an eye out
Let
for
me know.
that.
Doug
car.
Cox lives in Mandurah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so get hold of me if you need to, or
Yeah.
through the show or whatever. And
It may have got crushed up, I don't know, but I'd love to get hold of it. And that would be a great restoration job, eh?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be fantastic, especially
Yeah.
with those classic car days and stuff that
Yeah.
the association put on. It'd be awesome.
Give me another task.
Yeah, like you haven't got enough in the shed, mate. Tell us, in those days, I say the glory days because I was a kid growing up and idolised, like yourself and Stan Starcevic and there's so many names in that era that were just promoted by Con and so forth, being superstars. Who are some of the best guys that you raced with in that era and why?
I reckon in that era, Stan, you mentioned Stan. Stan was quite brilliant, actually. He was a driver that you could absolutely race flat out, and you'd never get a dent.
Yep.
Or if it did, it was an accident. And a lot of people never put this next guy, into their calculations when they talk about it. But I have got so much admiration for this guy as a driver and as a person.
Yep.
And if I don't say his name, I'll get punched in the face probably.
Paul
Delacy.
Delacy, all right. Yeah. Yes.
Paul was one of the neatest drivers you could ever drive against.
Right.
He could just race you flat out. He'd go in the turn. He was so tidy, and he was quick. Won a state title. Did pretty well over East a couple of times too. Brother Alan, I always say Alan and I, as two brothers, were so different. Alan was a niggler.
Right.
He'd get in there and annoy the hell out of you.
Yeah, so tapping on the
go-
back button in the quarter panel and just move
I'm
around
here.
a bit.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Whereas I was sort of more. I remember at Bunbury, and I used to quite often, even Richard Haas from Stan, I passed V8s on the outside in my Tirana.
Right. Yeah.
So I would go for it quickly, whereas Alan would. He was. You could see Alan think
Got the
of his
pressure.
helmet on. He was just sitting there. And Brad's very similar to Alan in that way, not totally, but in a way, Alan is similar to Brad, in that, to me, Brad is always within his limits. I don't think Brad ever overdrives.
No,
He doesn't. You always think that it's okay, he's back a bit, but he's got a bit of reserve. You always get that impression that he does as much as he has to.
Yeah.
And if I can just sort of diverse a little bit, I always loved watching Jeff Stanton race.
Yep.
Because I reckon Jeff Stanton was one of the neatest speed car drivers around. He was so tidy.
Yeah.
Johnny Fent was the same. You didn't see them for quite a while.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden,
They're there.
they're there. Whereas Charlie West, around the outside, you watch Charlie, because I used to love watching Charlie.
Yeah.
And he was spectacular. But John, Stano, a couple others, they were just.
I love how you mention that people from other divisions too, because a lot of people get television into what they do in whether sedans or solos or whatever, and it seems that you only competed in obviously sedans and sprint cars and stuff as well, but you did notice other people and how good they were in other divisions.
Yeah, but mate, I watched everything. I used to watch. I love to watch Shamashi.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How could you not?
Yeah.
I mean, how could you not
Yeah, poetry in motion, yeah.
And I, to be honest, I used to get goosebumps watching the side because I knew a lot of the guys. Geez, shit. When they'd crash, you think, oh, I hope you're okay, guys. You know?
Yeah.
Of course, you know, with solos, when late Kenny Carter come to visit, I took Kenny and Nigel over to Rotto on the boat. Rob Cox was only a kid, junior then, Robbie senior. And you know, we took them, and I knew a lot of the solo guys because I had them at most meetings. Ghosty, well, good friends. Leslie, a lot of guys in solos because Georgie Payne. Sadly.
Well, in those days too, they'd race before you guys, obviously.
Yes.
And then you'd go back into the bar and have probably beer with them after the racing if they hung around and watched you guys.
But funny story too. I've told this one before, but a lot of the people may have not.
Yeah, different shows.
When I was running, I mean, I loved Dennis Nash as a racer. He's just a brave man. You know? They all are. Anyone who gets on a sidecar to me is some form of lunatic.
Maybe something not right there. In a respectful one, of course.
How could you not respect what they do? Yeah, they're just sensational. But anyway, I get a call. I'm over at the start-finish line, and I get a call on the PA. Barry Blake to the pits immediately. So I raced over there. And Johnny McDermott, I think it was Johnny McDermott from memory. Sorry if it's not you, Johnny, out in Orpses. There's blood pissing down here, you know, trickling down here. I said, oh, what's the problem? Now she says, nothing. Now. And I thought, fair enough, Dan.
Yeah.
I was going to
go into it.
take your word for it, mate. And then the next day, because Trevor Hart and Ghosty was helping to organise it, I think the bikes with Brian Mitchell, I think it was, and Les Leask was there, and Les had a crap of a night on the night, and so they asked could they use the track on the Sunday. I said, yeah, if you like. And I go, to most people this may not, you had to probably be there to see the humour. Anyway, Leask goes out and he's going, and Ghosty says, here, give me a ride, let me get on the bike and go for a ride. So Ghosty gets on, he's sitting on the bike, and Lacey kisses him, he says, just go easy. He said, you know, you've got to do this, you've got to make sure you... Ghosty looks at him and says, I've ridden a few of these in my time, you know. Just, all right. So it's just, you know, little stuff like that in Speedway, mate. They're just classic little lines from guys. You know, that's why you love them all. I love the Formula 500s. I used to watch Charlie Whistle. He used to swing out the Formula 500, you know. Danny Lahore.
Wow.
Big Bill Watson when he rode stock bikes. Yeah, I watched them all, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They're all
cool.
part of the deal.
Absolutely, we're all one big family.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
We're just going to take a quick break. We're going to grab a pizza thanks to Mark Nelson, have a feed, get Barry back on here in a minute, so and thank a few sponsors. So we'll be back with one of the legends of Speedway, Barry Blake. Welcome back, everyone. We just had a bit of a bite to eat and a drink, and we'll just
Apple juice.
Yeah, yes. Barry doesn't drink alcohol or anything, and I'm on the Coke Zero tonight, so hey, all good. And we're just talking a bit before in the segment of like people like Dennis Nash and you know, Leask and you know how sometimes they're not a little bit right in the head, respectfully. But Barry was just telling me a story. You've actually had a go.
Yeah, legend of the sidecar. A great mate of mine, Spin Tomlinson.
G'day, Spin, if you're watching.
Hey, Spin. Yeah, he's a fantastic guy, mate.
Yeah.
Loyal friend.
Yeah.
Real friend.
Got told off by his dad.
He is.
He's one day I did. Yeah, anyway.
He's now that the virus is over, I'm hoping he can come up and have a cup of tea with us. But anyway, Spin was quite good friends with the Mick Sherwood and his brother, who ran sidecars. And we had quite a big yard at the workshop in Cornwall on Ballantyne. They're there one day with a bike and Mick says, jump on. I said, no way, not a chance, mate. He said, no. He said, I'll just go slow. So I jumped on. Mistake. He knew it, mate, and I got off there. I think I just about killed the prick anyway. But I think Mick's daughter may see this because she's on my Facebook page. But he was a sensational guy. Sadly died, but just a lovely guy, mate. Pretty good boxer too in his day.
Okay.
Yeah, only in lower division, but he was pretty good. And I set a one-lap record in solos at Bunbury Speedway. That's absolutely true story.
You did?
I did, mate.
Wow, there you go. If someone had to bet me money, I'd have lost.
On a Sunday.
Okay.
Slowest lap ever recorded.
It's better, mate.
And that's why I know
Yep.
the solo riders and sidecar riders are screw loose. Because I got on
Brave,
the thing,
brave man.
and I bring all the gear. They sort of dared, and we'd race the night before, and I would go out there, and Alan was out there because he was managing the track at the time.
Yep.
And I got on this thing, mate, and I went down the straight, and I thought, the bastard won't turn. Of course, you've got to
Lean
lean
over.
right over, you know. Anyway, I did about 3 or 4 laps. Probably should have gone backwards, that's how slow I was going. But I did set a record, the last slowest lap ever, mate.
Nice.
But no, they're, I mean, all people in speedway and motor racing in general are pretty brave, mate. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But those guys, and I met Kevin Schwartz.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin raced NASCARs, and actually Lee Redmond and Chuckles were there this particular meeting over in East. And I don't think Chuck said he wasn't going to wash his hands for a few weeks after he did it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But, and I remember Kevin saying, we're all sitting there having a laugh, and he was a terrific guy actually. And he was sitting there and he said, you know, he said, you guys, he said, you're the heroes. He said, us bike riders aren't as brave as you. We said, well, how the hell do you work that out? He said, simple. He said, we're this wide. He said, and the track's that wide. He said, so we've got plenty of room. We can all go. He said, you guys are that wide. He said, the track's only a bit wider.
Yeah.
He said, you're all trying to get in the corner at the same time. He
Pretty
said,
logic.
we got roll cages.
Yeah.
But he was a lovely guy.
Yeah.
Kevin Schwartz. Yeah, a bit different to one of our riders.
Okay.
At the time.
Yeah.
Mr. Wayne. He drove Terry Byers' car there one time, mate.
Okay.
Never mixed with anyone.
Right.
Quite arrogant, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sad, but that's what it was, so
Yeah.
let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll get to all the NASCAR
Yeah.
stuff. You're going to have some really good stories with that
Yeah,
stuff.
we've got
'Cause-
some.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to chuck a few names out there as well that you raced with. And
Okay, could I, sorry, mate.
No,
you
you're right.
asked me about drivers.
Go for your life.
But one of my all-time favourites,
Yeah.
person
Mhm.
and racer, Rod Watson.
Yep. Gentlemen.
Superb driver, mate. And also just the most, you couldn't upset Rod.
Okay.
He just didn't get upset. Laurie Hardy was very good too, mate. Laurie, if you look back on Laurie, and then you go into the later era, you know, you've got Ben, Bert,
Yeah.
Tony, AJ, Peter Morgan was a tidy driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm probably going to forget a few.
Steve Dale. There's plenty to go
Dale,
through.
Stephen Dale, they were all good drivers, mate. They all won races. You know, you don't win races if you're not good enough. Simple as that.
There was so much competition back then, you know.
It was, yeah. And it was different. I love it now too. Don't worry. I wish I was 20 again and I was starting off in these late models. I mean, boy, oh boy, we had the ball. But it was simpler, cheaper, and we could do it and get away with it because most of us had got married early. We're all trying to pay off a mortgage already.
Yeah.
So you know, it wasn't easy, but you did it because
Yeah.
you wanted to. But I hope I haven't missed anyone out, guys. But you know, I've got the utmost respect for all the people that raced equally. It's just I can just think of a few at the moment.
Well, you had some run-ins with them as well, eh? But next week you have a beer with them. Like,
I always compare it to footy. I played 200 games of Sunday League, played a couple of seasons of A-grade amateurs, played till I was 45. Mate, you go out and belt the crap out of each other. The moment the siren goes,
Yep.
it is over.
Yeah.
And you all go back in and have a good laugh and show everyone your bruises.
Yeah.
But I had 3 run-ins with Bert.
yeah, tell us.
And it was pretty easy to have a run-in with Bert.
Yeah.
And that's not...
He's a good, great character.
Mate, he's fabulous.
Yeah.
Just so good for the sport, and he was just so determined. You know, and look, I think even Bert's family and close friends would reckon Bert wasn't the best driver. He was, in fact, I always considered Bert quite an ordinary driver, but he made up for it with attitude and determination, and, you know,
Yeah.
and he got his results. He was just, but he was a terrific guy as well. You know?
Yeah.
You could have a blue with him. Then the next day you'd want something, you'd ring up, or should I? Yeah, mate, come and pick it up.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
what,
I think you had a punch up with Bert
Oh,
once, didn't you?
2 or 3, I think.
And Shorty Ben, and then, like I say, next week you borrow parts and off you go again, sort of thing.
I was had a pretty short fuse in those days. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have, but it cost me 6 months and $200 with one of the ones with Bert. I've got to say, I warned Bert.
Yep.
I did warn him not to do it. He did it. So I kept my word and whacked him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I rang him the next day.
Yeah.
He didn't bother.
And that's what the part I like. It's not about having a fight or anything.
Yeah.
It's like the camaraderie back then is still, I mean, obviously there's some that you probably didn't, but a lot of it was, I had blue with you today, but next week we're back racing Friday night, man, don't worry about it.
Well, it's funny how I was a good chief steward too, from within the car, because
You're a chief steward. Yeah.
Well, one particular meeting there, that was when I had the Corvette actually. As we come off Foul House, Benny got under me and he drove me straight into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Now it may have been accidental, but I ended up on the wall and I was actually unconscious. I was unconscious for 5 hours actually, because I woke up in St Charles Garden Hospital and I think I'd been X-rayed at the time, and I almost bit my tongue off actually.
Jeez.
I had to get another tooth replaced because I broke a tooth, and my tongue was so badly cut from biting.
And this is at Claremont?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was so sore because I think because my helmet cracked as well. So I don't know how they did the cage, but someone they swore for years that my head actually come out of the car and hit the fence because the car went up on the side. But anyway, so I warned Benny. I said, Benny, enough's enough. Don't do it again. And the next week, I hit the lead.
Yep.
With 2 laps to go, and it was a big race, $500 to win, which at that time was
quite big. Huge.
Well, Benny drives into me, bang, up I go. Yep. He drives through. Well, they cancelled the race and said we'll rerun it next week. Well, the next week he gives me another one. Mm. So I went back in the pits, walked over his car, grabbed him, and slapped him around. I mean, you regret it after, but at the time, you know, you're pretty aggro. But
yeah. And one day I'm going to talk to Ben, and he's going to have his sides of the story, so it's all going to be equal.
So his side will be wrong. Yeah. I already told him.
Yeah, I bet.
As a matter of fact, I think I told you only about a month ago. But I got to confess that the one bloke who could have broken every panel on the car and done anything, and I probably would have said, "That's all right, Paul." It was Paul Glass.
Yeah. My man.
He was tough, mate.
Yeah, even as a kid, I mean, growing up, you know, he had a reputation as one guy.
But loyal, mate. If you wanted something, you needed something, Paul had it, you could get it. Yeah, just the toughest, one of the toughest blokes I've ever. And I played footy against a lot of tough men, and Paul would rank as one of the toughest guys I've ever come across. I used to go to clubs with him, and this is a bit off. You go somewhere with him at the hotel, and I've seen him do it. He'd walk in, and he'd go Paul, he'd fold his arms, mate, and he'd just fold his arms and he'd stand there right in the middle of the floor. If you wanted, you had to go around him, he wouldn't move. And it didn't matter who it was, he was just that confident in his ability, you know. Yeah, because he was a bouncer at the Maylands pub for quite a while.
Right, I didn't know that. You can probably still probably get to get Paul on here too, he'd
be fantastic.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah. Love the guy, mate.
The Yank Sedan teams, like, though the promotion in those days, not going to blow wind up Con's bum. Everyone knows how good Con was in his time, and you've had some probably blues with him run-ins because you know that's just the way the business is.
Yep.
But the promotion in those days, sedans were huge. I remember as a kid seeing, you know, like when Ed Wilbur came out, Rodney Combs and Pearson, and it was so massive. Everyone wanted to go. There was probably 20,000 people that rocked up to watch on a Friday night. What was it like for you to be in the test matches, and then sometimes you'd be selected, I'm not sure, but like as a captain or whatever, representing WA in that kind of era?
Yeah, just start on Con. I always believe, and look, Con, I always say, I've got a saying of mine, this mate say, it doesn't matter what you say about Con, good, bad, he was speedway through and through.
Yep.
And Con worked on the adage that you did not run your own sport down in public. If you had a beef or you had something to say, you say it behind closed doors.
Yep.
Then but when it comes to public, I mean, I was there sometimes when Con would be absolutely running someone, not running down, but criticising and having a go at them.
Yeah, he was a promoter, and
But then you do an interview for the radio and say, "Here's the greatest speed car driver I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah.
He never ever took it into the public arena, and that is so important in your sport. You do not knock what you're doing at all. You're just working with them, and if you don't like the decision, well, bad luck,
Yeah, like politics in some things, like, hey, you might be fighting over, let's say the club's fighting over prize money or something.
Yeah. We did.
And Con says, I'm not paying you. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Did that happen?
Yeah. Cost me a lot. I'll go on to that. But back to the highlight for sedans each year, it was almost like if you played footy, you got picked to the state side.
Yeah.
To us, everyone that went down there that was in that top 10 or 12 really wanted to get in the team to play to
Yeah.
race the Yanks,
Wow.
because Rodney Coombs was probably the smoothest rider I've ever seen.
Mhm.
He was a top guy. Charlie Swartz, just as good as Rodney, but in a different way. Charlie was more aggressive in the sense of he would drive the hell off the car, whereas Rodney would let the car do the work more, and he would just help it along. So it's hard to describe.
Flow maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might have mentioned it. I mentioned a couple of weeks or so ago that the car I bought, the Grand National, was actually driven by Charlie Swartz.
Right.
A guy, Barry Lewis, owned the car and bought Charlie and the car. And Charlie said to me one day, he said, "Oh, where do you back off?" I said, "Oh, down at sort of there." He says, "Do yourself a favour." He said, "Leave your foot on the throttle for another 20 or 30 metres, then turn." He said, "The car will go through the turn." And it did.
Mm.
And that was the difference. Rodney was more conservative, but he was smooth. And he was pretty hard to beat too, by the way. And that first series we had against Rodney and Charlie, we raced Ed Wilbur and all those other guys, and we actually, I think, got top point scored a couple of times and we won.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Ed Wilbur, because Ed was a fabulous promoter.
Yeah.
Terrific guy too. He's still alive. He's 82, 83, 84,
Wow.
you know. But when Rodney and Charlie came here, Con did just a fantastic job. He got us to all go to the airport. We met all the guys at the airport.
Yeah.
The big, it was so well promoted, and Channel 7 and Channel 9 came to my workshop and did footage, and of course there was a big incident coming onto the main straight the first night. I think Leo served Rodney up, I think it was. Well, it was on the young and old on the main straight, everyone out of their cars.
I've heard different stories, and Ben had a bit of one of the cars in his...
That wasn't that particular night.
Okay.
Ben wasn't in that series, I think.
that was
that was that particular one. But that was a good series for me, because I said to my guys, because I had the cars at my workshop, when I saw them, I said, right, we have to win early in the night, because we're not going to beat these things in the feature, because they were light.
Right.
They were real light cars, and I said we have to beat them early on, because we will have no shot at it in the feature. And I thought, so that's where, and I did. I think I top point scored the Friday and the Saturday night, and I think we won Friday and Saturday. I think they beat us at Bunbury, then they come back the following week, beat us on the Friday night.
Yep.
But I knew that we had to win early, and I was right. Once the feature race came out, they didn't drive away, but they comfortably beat us, you know.
Yeah.
And the cars were just so quick once the track dried out.
Yes.
Yeah. But the irony of that was, I think 2 of those cars only had 327s in them. They didn't have 350s in them either.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but they were pure race cars compared to what we had.
Of course, yeah.
But we learned so much from that.
I was just going to ask you that next question. What did you actually, the technology or the way they set things up?
Every time they came over, the next season would be quicker than what they were that season. But they'd be quicker again. So then we'd catch up a bit more. You know? But that particular night, I think Leo drove, I think it was Rodney who drove into the wall. And I always found with the Americans, and I watched the sprint cars, and if you listen to the way an American drives, and our guys do now, Brad, the Oldfield boys, Michael Holmes, the top guys in late models, and even the sprint car, but you listen to them now, there's none of this mash off. It's all roll at the throttle, roll the throttle. And I remember listening to Jimmy Sills, I think it was at Claremont, it must be 30 years ago.
Yeah, he came out with, I think it was, wow, that was 1980.
Yeah.
I think it was Jimmy Sills. And he dominated the Bunbury too.
And to listen to that car, he never actually fully got off the throttle. And I remember standing in the pits, and I said to a couple of people, have a listen to that, would you? And it was just, never got off. He didn't lift off the throttle at all. He just stayed and rolled it out a bit, then rolled it back in.
Yep.
There was no, and you don't upset the balance of the car. You try and leave the car, because you want to treat the car like it's your best friend, not a deadly enemy by
smashing the
to
pedal,
death. You know?
I think that might have been the two of Larry Burton, Kinzer and Wolfgang, I think.
But he was, I just listened to the car, and I tell that to guys now, just work the throttle. Don't mash it. Don't jump on things and upset and have the car ducking and diving. It's got to be smooth.
I noticed Warren, in my opinion, Warren Oldfield's learned that. When he first went to late models, he was smashing throttle, and now he really gets everything out of it.
Those guys are they're as good as the guy. The only guy, probably the only American in recent times that's really dominated is probably Steve Francis.
Yeah.
And he was exceptional.
Yeah.
And I like Tyler Erb too, but then what's his name, Kai Blight. I compare him.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Tyler
Kai's
Erb now,
really good.
just quite brilliant. You know?
Yeah.
But you could see that coming with Kai for 2 or 3 years. It was going to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was going to. So, but we've got some sensational competitors in every division, mate. Every time any visitors come, they get a run for their money here.
Yeah.
In WA, no matter who they are. Yeah. So.
We're going to take another quick break and we'll come back and we might start talking a little bit of NASCAR because Barry raced Speedway and NASCAR at the same time, which is a hell of a feat in itself. So we'll come back with Barry Blake, the legend, on Slightly Sideways.
Apple juice, mate.
Keeps you young.